Hello, it's Greg. Today we will try to create the WPF plugin for Tekla Structures. So we will think about the user interface, how our application should expose its possibilities to the final users. And I picked the WPF because this is the current way how you should or you could. It all depends on your choice of the words, but I think that the WPF is definitely a better approach than going with the old WinForms for Tekla Structures plugin development. So there is quite a lot of information on the Tekla Developer Center website, and I think that they are freely available, so you can check what are the recommendations from the Trimble site. And they are quite good as a first step just to create it. So I will try to follow those steps and show you from the very beginning how you can create your own plugin on the sample by the dotbim exporter, which we have covered in the previous videos. So let's start with just creating the new solution, the new project, and I will create the new project which will be aiming the newer .NET. So I will pick the WPF class library, and I'm doing it for two reasons. First, by picking the WPF class library, not the WPF app, I will get just the DLL. So the Tekla will be able to search in the DLL for the specific attributes, which will point that, hey, here there is the plugin which should be exposed in the Trimble UI. And the second factor why I am picking that project and not that which have .NET Framework is that those newer .NET versions, they have different CSPROI file, the SDK style of the project definition. And it is quite powerful, so you should pick that one. Okay, so first question is about the project name. So I will stick with the previous convention, so it will be the dotbim Tekla, and here it will be just the UI, I think. That's all. Yeah, nothing more, and I will pick the oldest .NET framework, and the first step which I am doing for that particular project is changing its .NET target framework. So I'm not targeting the new .NET 5. New is, yeah, just put it in the parentheses. I will choose .NET 4.8, the same as for the previous, like for the benchmark or for those tests. And as previously, it is better approach just to rerun the Visual Studio, just to have it up and running after setuping. So now the Visual Studio was restarted, and you see that there is no question mark on the dependencies. And after rebuilding, that class library will work. And of course, it just has one class, so it's completely not helpful, but this is our first starting point for doing our development. And that UI project, it needs some references to Tekla Structures libraries. And I'm always not sure, should I pick the plugin library or the dialog? So let's just try to see the dialog. It needs the plugin. Yeah, so the dialog is one level above. So if we load the dialog library to our project, it will also grab those internal catalogs, data type, model, and plugins. And I am writing that application for Tekla 2024. Of course, it will work also for the previous versions, but from the testing, from the runtime perspective, now I will pick 2024 with the newest Nugget package. So let's grab all of that stuff, and we will have it in our UI project. Great. We now have only one class 1. It's not very helpful. So let's remove it. And now let's try to see what are the recommendations from the Trimble. And here we see that, okay, your plugin dialog, it should inherit from that class. So let's create our window, and it will be just like that. I will add new item, and here on that list I will search for WPF, and we will have the window, the page, the user control, and quite a lot of different stuff. And I will start with just a window and name it like here, main window. Okay. our plugin will have just one window, the main window. It's just an application inside of the plugin, so the naming convention doesn't need to be very strict. We have the main window, and the first step, as Trimble said, was to change from what class we are inheriting, because now we are inheriting just from the standard WPF, but we want to do that from the plugin window base. So let's start it with the account behind, and here we will not rely on the window but on the plugin window base, and after a while that library was loaded. So now I will do the same for the example, but for that purpose I need to add new namespace. Usually it's named TSD, and it is coming from Tekla Structures dialog. Okay, here it is, and now that window is not just a window, but it is TSD plugin window base. Okay, this is it. And yeah, I see that I also have one error about the nullable value types, because in that CSPROI I had it here, and I have not changed the version of the language itself. So just as side back, I will change the language version just to have all of those new stuff coming with the newer C# versions, and now that project will compile. So we have just a dummy plugin, it's just a placeholder. And let's see what else is presented here. Okay, so here we see that for the constructor of the main window, we should try to inject the main window view model. So the question is, what is that main window view model? And I think that it is shown a little later. So main window view model is a class which will be responsible for synchronizing your data between Tekla and the UI. So this is something which sits between the model and the view. That's why it is named the view model. If you would like to learn more about the MVVM pattern, which is used for that kind of application, then just follow any free materials on YouTube or just in the internet. There are a lot of them, so yeah. But you don't need to understand all of those concepts. I will now try to create the main window view model, and it will be the public class, which has to meet one very specific criteria, because it has to implement that interface. And fortunately, Trimble is providing the default implementation of that interface, so we will not think too much about the details, but that particular interface is responsible for updating, so for the action which needs to be taken when something has been changed. I know that it is quite obfuscated how I am trying to tell about that, but yeah, for now, you just need to copy-paste those parts from the Tekla documentation, and that's all. That main window view model now is ready to use. Of course, from your point of view, it doesn't do anything meaningful. You know, why do I need something like that? But later, when we will try to wire some text boxes, some UI controls with the data which is stored, which is persisted with your plugin, then it will make the difference, that you will have implemented already that interface. So now, just please be patient. And we needed that because now, when I will go to the main window constructor, and it can be found somewhere here, then you will see that now it is the default one. It doesn't accept any attribute, but I want to accept it like that. So truly it was that name, main window view model. Yeah, quite long one, but okay. So here we have the view model, and we want to persist it in some field. It will be enough. Yeah, I have not changed those default settings, so let's grab it like that. And for the plugin, I think that's all. Let's look it. Yeah, and we are initializing all of the internals of that plugin, and then we are just preserving what was provided inside of the constructor. And as you can see, for the applications, it looks a little differently. We will scratch the surface for that a little later, but for now, for the plugins, that's all. Okay, so we have something, but yeah, the question is how to check it, how to see that it is doing anything. And of course, now it is impossible because it's just a class when you have some window, some main window view model, and that's all. We are missing one very important piece, which is the same for the old WinForms and for the new WPF applications. So we need the definition of the plugin itself. So we need some new class which will be annotated with very specific attributes coming from the Tekla library. So I will use the name. Usually it is just main plugin. Here it will be the dotbim plugin, because maybe you would like to have different plugins in one project. It all depends on your needs. And that dotbim plugin, it has to be annotated with two different, at least with two, but it can be with more attributes. So the first one is just the plugin, and here you have to provide the name, how the plugin will be visible in the applications and components side pane on the right side of the Tekla, usually on the right side. So here we need to provide how we want to present the name of our tool to the end users. And I will not deal with multi-language application, it will be only in English. So I will here just provide the straight name. So that is the first thing. So how our plugin will be exposed to the end users, but we also has to prepare to show, to point where the UI resides, in which class, because for our purpose there will be just one main window, but when you are dealing with some corporate plugins, there probably are multiple of them inside of one project, and every plugin will point to a different window. So you need to have some convention for them, and also you need to specify the Tekla. Okay, so that component, it will use the plugin user interface. And here it's a little, it can lead to some errors, because you need to provide the namespace, the full name of the class, which is treated as a user interface. And for that, usually the most non-fragile way is just to copy it from the class of the main window. But of course, if you have messed something with the namespace, then probably it could be differently done. Okay, so we need the name and we need the UI. Great, but it's not enough, because that class, it has to be very specific. It has to implement some methods, and those methods are coming from the plugin base component. And as you can see, now we are getting some error, and Visual Studio is complaining that, hey, you need to implement that abstract class, and we need to implement two different things. So we need to provide, okay, so what is needed to create a new instance of this plugin. So maybe users should pick something from the model, or maybe they should pick the line, or provide something what will be processed later inside of our component. As the dotbim plugin is trying to mimic the behavior of the typical export to IFC, then you don't need to select anything. You don't need to pick anything inside of your plugin. So here I will just return completely new list which will say that, hey, for that plugin we don't need any input. So the user will not have to pick anything on the screen. That's all. But inside of our run method, we need to trigger our internal logic. So we want to export the stuff. So here we need to do some export. And of course, unfortunately, it's not the time when it will be well understood by any AI or any stuff like that. So we need to add the reference to our engine. So now I'm just adding the reference to the engine, and here I will try to do exactly something like that. So I will try to prepare some export settings, and not everything was okay. Here is coming from just hard-coded some paths to just to move a little faster. Okay, so what I have done. Here I am providing the path to Tekla Power Fab settings, which will be used for the export of the property sets. And then I have created some quite small record for storing the needed data coming from the UI. So the user will need to specify the export mode. Do they want to export only the selection, or maybe all of the elements, where they want to provide, when they want to save the result, the output dotbim file, and also which properties should be used. And I see that there is some strange typo, but okay, maybe not now. So that is all when we think about the very skeletonic run method. Of course, here we are not reading anything from the user. It's just a placeholder that will be enough just for now. Okay, so you need to implement that abstract class plugin base, and it needs at least two methods, the define input and run. That's all. But in our case, one thing is a little different, because we will need here also the specification that that plugin, it is not related to anything which is in the model. It is not modifying the existing content. It is not creating new Tekla objects. It just query the model content and then creates a completely new file. So here I want to specify also the plugin, the input object dependency. Yeah, that's it. So here I have to pick one of the enumerable values, and it will be the non-dependent. And I think that it is quite well described. So if you would like to read a little more about what are the differences between non-dependent, dependent, etc., then you can just go to the documentation, and it is there. So this is the very basic of the skeleton for the plugin. And of course, now it still will not do too much than just exporting the selection to that path. But I would like to go back to our window because it's completely blank. So there will be no those typical, save, load, help, OK, modify, and all of that stuff, which is always a little confusing for new Tekla users. But it won't be here. It will not magically appear in the UI. So we need to add them manually. And fortunately, it is presented here how you can do this. So at first, you need to specify extra namespace, those UI controls, and they are sitting in a different namespace. So that's why you need to do that. And then you will be able to use that. So now when I invoke UI controls, then I will see the catalogs for the bolts, for the meshes, all stuff like that. But I want only to get those save load. It will be the first one. So now I see at the top the save load. Nice. And of course, at the bottom, I want to see that, OK, modify and something like that. So yeah, here we have, what do we have? The title, some text box with strange ordering, filter, save load, OK. And some content, and here it is, WPF, OK, apply, modify, get on, as you can guess. Whoa, a lot of things is going on here. So let's just copy it and paste it here, and it will be pasted in the grid, so it will not look quite well, but OK, so they have done it by just specifying the alignment. Yeah, OK, for now, let's do it like that. So I have just copied that quite long definition of that bottom bar, and when I will try to compile it, then it will shout that sorry, it is impossible because you are missing all of those functionalities. So I don't know what has to be done when you will click apply, what will happen when you will click get, and all of that stuff. So now I will just go very quickly to implement them with some just F12, or maybe it will be a little below. Probably not. Nope. Okay, so what are our solutions? I think that it will be the easiest just to go to the GitHub, and there was even the shortcut, I think, WPF plugin, and there was get the code. And here, if we go to the current branch, 2024, and we'll go to the model, plugins, WPF plugin, oh, we are quite close. And then if we go under the hood of the main window XAML CS, then we will see, yeah, that is what I want to have. And I think that we need those 6 implementations, those 6 methods. So I will just grab them and see that all of them will have just one reference, that I will not get too much. Yes. And as you can see, those methods are quite dummy. They are just kind of a wiring between the XAML, the WPF part, let's name it like that, with internals of that plugin window base. And now after trying to rebuild, I will, yeah, those errors are not there. Great, we have it. We have something, but yeah, what exactly do we have? we have just an empty plugin which doesn't do anything meaningful. So I will now try to just provide some label, some very dummy label. So it will be the dummy label. And yeah, let's just play with those margins. So it will be offsetted like that. And as you can see, it is here. We will do it correctly later, but now just try to rebuild. We will get the DLL. Here it is. So now I will grab those files. Maybe not all of them, because it will be probably too much, and it is completely not needed. So usually I'm just getting from the data of the modification, and then I will see that yeah, it's not the best way, because we need definitely those files which are coming from the engine, from the UI. We also need the dotbim, because it is something which is not visible for Tekla, and we also need that stuff. So now I don't like that in the output of our debug we are getting all of those Tekla libraries. So let's try to fix it. There is a chapter about controlling dependency assets inside of the Microsoft documentation, and here you can see that there are different ways to include or exclude different type of references. What I found is usually working is trying to specify to include assets like Tekla libraries, but only for the compile and the build. So when you will provide here compile and build, then after rebuilding the project, you will see that the number of assets will be smaller. It is not perfect still, because we are still getting some Tekla common geometry, Tekla structures, model, data type, but we don't have Tekla structures dialog itself. It is not copied. It will be get from the global assembly cache for older Tekla, or from the Tekla process itself when we will host it under the Tekla process. But we are still getting those libraries, and I don't want to have them. So we have to go back to see that our project Tekla dotbim Tekla UI is utilizing the engine, and the engine itself, it also has the package Tekla structures model. So we have to specify that include assets flag to compile build, and after that, after cleaning the whole solution and rebuilding the whole solution, we will see that we will get much less number of different files in our output. And yeah, it will help us just to determine, okay, so what is truly coming from us, what we need, what are the dependencies of our library. So for example, the dotbim library is utilizing newtons of JSON. Our engine is also using this library for tessellation. So those are our dependencies. They are not coming from the Tekla. This is not the package which we just need to hold and pass to the next instance. So that is something. And of course, the size, the overall size of those libraries will be much smaller than if we will add Tekla common geometry, Tekla common primitives, blah, blah, blah. You get the point. So that's the content of my plugin. And now I would like to see it in the Tekla that, yeah, we have something, that we have that dummy label and we have that plugin exposed on the applications and components side. So let's grab them with 2 fingers and let's go to the directory. It is Tekla Structures 2024, environments, common, and extensions. And somewhere here I will create a new directory. It will be dotbim exporter. And I will paste those files here. So yeah, and now just manual process, copy, paste, here it is. And of course, to make it up and running, I will need to rerun the Tekla. So let's wait a while. And here we are again. So I had to restart the Tekla. And this is one of the most problematic things in terms of developing Tekla plugins, but we will cover it in just a few minutes. Now I want to check that under the name dotbim exporter, there is something on the applications and components side pane. And after double clicking, I will see the result, our great plugin window. Nice. What do we see? That it looks definitely differently than in the Visual Studio. Let's compare. Because here it was like that. It doesn't look the same like in Tekla, and also the title could be a little different just to show what we are trying to do. But okay, in terms of the UI itself, it's okay. I would like now to see that OK button will trigger the evaluation of our dotbim export. So I will go back to place where I want to temporarily place those files. So test dotbim, I will remove that file and try to see that after rerunning, it will, I have to select something. So now I have it, okay, and it's not working, okay. So something is missing and I'm not sure what. So what I am doing when I face such problems. The first thing is trying to see the session log. Sometimes it is helpful, not always, but here we see that not really. There is just the information that the file which is used for the translation for different Tekla language versions, it is not found, so we don't need it. So the next step is try to attach to the Tekla process just to see, okay, so what is going on. And to do that, I am using the attach to process. And here in that UI, you need to specify, okay, so into which process you would like to attach your debugger. And I will pick Tekla because this is the host application of my plugin. And here, two things can be searched. So first, in the output, you can see more verbose information coming from Tekla. Not always helpful, but I will try to do it once more. And I will see in Visual Studio that in the output, nothing really important. So then I will try to see, okay, so let's go to the dotbim plugin and let's put the breakpoint here and also here. And I'm quite curious if those breakpoints will be hit or not. I will disable this and this, and let's try. Okay, okay, nothing happens. It is not working. Those breakpoints are not hit. So definitely something is wrong. Something is missing in our plugin because it is exposed, but those methods are not invoked. So let's try to find out what we have missed. And to do that, I will go back to that stuff and see that from the main window, it's all for the main window of your model. That's all. And probably I have missed something which I have not thought that it is needed. So that plugin data, the thing which provides the settings of the Tekla plugin. So let's see this sample. And this is the sample WPF plugin, which you can find in the GitHub. And you see that there is one additional class, which I skipped. I thought that it won't be needed, but it seems that that constructor, it need to have the parameter. So what that is needed for. So the plugin data is the place when the Tekla will save your user interface settings. So if you will type some path where the dotbim file should land, it will be saved as an UDA inside of the Tekla model, and that plugin data, it will be the backing mechanism just to store those properties in your code. So what I will do now, I will just stop the debugging. Let's stop it and let's create new, it will be the plugin data. Here the naming, it doesn't matter, but yeah, let's stick with what Trimble is presenting in their samples. So it will be the plugin data, and what I have in the, I have too much, so sorry, I have copied too much of stuff. What is here? And yeah, here we are specifying the fields which we appear in our UI. And what does it exactly mean? We will find out a little later. I just want to remove those regions. I don't see the purpose of them. And yeah, maybe let's start the naming convention which Tekla is trying to force by those samples. I always don't get why those names are different in the samples. They should be the same, truly, in my opinion. So here I will just use the path here and the path here. That's all. So I'm getting that warning because, yeah, in terms of my nullable flags turned on, that field could be set to null, but that's, yeah, probably that class should be excluded from that checking from the IntelliSense, because it's how the Tekla is working. You can't do anything more. So what I will do, I will here try to create the constructor, and I will provide this plugin data and store it as a field, because later I will need it. Not now, but I will need it. Now it will be just the read-only field without anything more. So let's just remove all of that stuff and rebuild our plugin. And yeah, I need to move those files once more. And after having that plugin stabilized that it will work after adding the plugin data, then we will try to just move those files as a post-build operation, just to make our life a little easier. So now let's wait for restarting the Tekla, because you can't remove those files. They are now loaded into the Tekla, so sorry. You can't do much more. So see you in just a few seconds. Okay, I have replaced the plugin with the newest version, and I found out that it was working previously, because you know, when you have the plugin as set as a non-dependent, then OK or apply, they don't do anything. You just need to hit modify, and then you will go into the code. You will trigger your function. So now the dotbim is exported. Here it is with the current date. So yeah, the first pick, my choice to get those OK, apply, modify was the wrong one, because I think we will see it just in a while that for that purpose we should not use the full-blown all of those buttons, because they are needed when you are dealing with some real components, real plugins, when you have the possibility to create something in Tekla, double click, change the settings, modify, and all of that stuff. When you have just something which is invoked once, I would say, and something is happening, then I think that we should try to use not OK apply, but maybe create apply. And yeah, why create apply? It's also not very useful, but I will start with that and remove those on off, all of those. So I will just end with what it will be more. I think that there should be one more button, but I'm not sure which one, because create, yeah, it should also be the create clicked, and yeah, let's create the new event. And yeah, so now I want on the create trigger the modify, because this is the operation which should be invoked. And let's rebuild just to see which of those are now dead, which doesn't have the reference, and why it was not. Yeah, let's clean and try once more, because it doesn't update it as I would like to have it. It is still held somewhere? No. So now we see that those two methods, they can be thrown to the trash, and the rest are still there. But I don't think so. Cancel click, get clicked, get is not used. Yeah. So we have only apply, cancel, and modify. Really? We don't have the modify. Why those Visual Studio doesn't update those? Strange. Okay, so we have 3 buttons, and of course the question is, why do we have create and apply? But yeah, that's the question for Tekla guys, and not for me. But yeah, we could try to hide it using the reflection, just to decrease the confusion on the users. Let's try to see how the export to IFC is solved. It has just export and cancel, but yeah, it looks like they are not using the same buttons as usually. So maybe that could be the path to not try to use the create, apply, cancel, but just provide 2 buttons here, and under those buttons we will invoke the method modify and close, and that's all. Sounds quite reasonable, so let's do this. So, okay, now I have everything in a grid, and yeah, I think that it should be split into 3 different rows. So now I will just define the rows, and the first one will have the height set to auto, because we know how big those buttons are, and the second one will fill the rest, and the last one will be set to auto. Okay, that is what I would like to have. And the save load, it should be visible as in the first row. So like that, our dummy control, it will fill the space in the middle. And the last one, our new stuff, which I would like to add. So I don't want to use those create apply because I don't want to mess with apply. So I will try here to place the grid inside of the grid. Usually it's the easiest way how to deal with such problems. So that grid will sit in the previous grid second row, and inside of that grid I will have two buttons, so only two columns. And let's define the column definition, and I will have the column definitions with width. Yeah, it will be just half of the space, and the second it will also be half of the space. So now let's try to create the button, and it will be named export, and it will be in the first column, okay, and the second one will be cancel, okay, something like that. And now let's remove those stuff. So now our UI looks like that. Sorry, back here, export cancel. Yeah, those buttons are using the whole available space, so not the best one. Probably that grid, it could have some margin like that. Okay, and yeah, we could try to specify the widths of those buttons, or try to some other way just to make it less sluggish, because yeah, less ugly, because it doesn't look quite good. But okay, now I want just to wire the operation, the export operation and the cancel operation, just to have the basic functionality. So here on click, I will not go with the MVV and the whole stuff. Let's don't try to make it too hard. So it will be export, and here it will be cancel. And those are just UI things, they are not. Okay, and we have export, we have the cancel, and now I want to use that close for the cancel and that create here. Okay, I'm not sure that it will work like that, but probably yes. Okay, so what I have done, I have just removed the previous buttons which are given by the Tekla. Now I'm a little afraid about the styling. We will see how it will go with the Fusion library, but yeah, to do that I need once more to restart the Tekla. So wait a while. Okay, and the Tekla is running, so let's try now to do the same stuff. So I don't have the file, and now I see new button, new shiny button. So let's try to export what is currently selected. And after a while, new file, new dotbim file will be created. So we were able to throw to the bin the previous bar with the different buttons, and now we have just the export and cancel, and it should be more easy to users to get what those buttons are responsible for. Okay, so we have it, and I think that you have one very particular question. Hey Greg, why are you manually copying those files? Why are you not using this reload functionality which was added into the Tekla some time ago? And yeah, if you are in that camp, please stay a while for an answer. But for the rest, what was that? Tekla rerun, reload, developer mode. Yeah, it is that. Debug a plugin without restarting Tekla Structures. It's wonderful. And here you see the recipe that you need to modify a little Tekla Structures ini to provide a new variable. Then you need to add some macro into your environment, and then after ticking that macro, your libraries will be reloaded. And that's great. But unfortunately, it is not working for Tekla 2024. Yet. Maybe, yeah, I'm using Service Pack 4.1, so maybe in the next one it will work. But when I read about what was added into SP5, there was no mention about that hotfix. So for Tekla 2024, at the moment of recording, that way of working is not possible. Sorry, not my fault, but yeah, it's probably related to these global assembly cache changes, and yeah, quite a lot of things is going under the hood of Tekla just to be ready for the new .NET versions. But we have to deal with that somehow. And as you show, I can't now remove those files because they are loaded into the Tekla process. So as long as the Tekla will be running, you don't have the possibility to replace them. They are locked. And the only way to free that lock is to close the Tekla, replace your libraries, open the Tekla and see your changes. And as you can guess, when you are doing it day by day, hour and hour, then you are thinking, hey, what has gone wrong with my life? Why I am spending my time just to see how the Tekla is restarting? And you are right, it's not the best way to work. So I will try to show you a different approach. And at the first point you will say that, hey, it's so time consuming. I have to create a new component. I have to think a little differently how I write my plugins. But in a longer run, when you will count how many times you have to rerun the Tekla, how much time do you waste just watching those beautiful splash images of the Tekla, which is always differently, but okay, then you will see that, okay, maybe let's try to do it differently. And now I will try to show you how exactly you can do this. And the whole starts with your solution, because now we had some benchmark just used for the speed testing. We had the engine, the internal logic, we had the UI, which now doesn't do much stuff. We have some tests, but for making your development much more convenient, we need one more thing, some exe application, which will use your logic, which will use the essence, the core of your plugin behavior. And by doing that, you will be able, oh, here we have some dummy margin, sorry. And you will be able to speed up your development process. So what is needed? We need the WPF application. That is the first step. So let's add it. So it will be not class library, but application itself. And I will use here the dotbim Tekla app, just like that. Probably when you have more projects, but okay, let's stick with the naming. And yeah, as the same, I will go exactly the same way as previously. I will even do something quite lazy, like that. I will just copy the same definition of the project and paste it here. So I will use, oh, sorry, there was one difference about the output type. And here it was not like that. So I will get it from here, and the rest should work. So let's do it like that. And as always, I will rerun the Visual Studio just to make those changes there. So after a while, it will be there. Sorry, not the library. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so now I have the application, the WPF application. And there will be one difference, that I want also to use the UI class library is for my application, because for now, when I will try to run that app, I will just see the blank window, but I want to have the content of my definition. So I want to add one more project reference to the UI and also the engine. Why it doesn't see it, I don't know. Yeah, it is now added. Okay, and what is more, what I need also that patcher to make that application work also for the Tekla 2024. And the name, it was like that, ts app config patcher task. So I will just grab it from here. Here it is. So I will add it here, and by doing that, I will have it. Well, I will try to compile my. I will see those little lines like that. Yeah, we are getting the app config tailored for the Tekla 2024. Okay, so that's my application exe project. But why do I need that? Because I have to think a little differently about that part, that middle part. Because now I started with just putting some label, and I would add some properties. A lot of things would land directly here. And it limits our possibilities, how we can structure our application in a different way. So what I want now to do, I want to extract that label and of course the future checkboxes, text boxes, all of that into different control. And why I am trying to do this? Because if I will add new user control, and it will be main area control, main control, let's name it like main control, and I will copy paste that dummy label from here into that. And yeah, I don't see it because the default background is black, so let's change it to white, and now I see. But of course I have extracted it, I have cut it from the main window, so here it is not here, it is not there. But when I am trying to extract some functionality into other class, other entity, then I am able to use it not only in that one place which it was sourced of, but into multiple places. So now I can go to the local main control and say that I want to have it in the first row, and I will have it once more. Yeah, it is not compiled, so it doesn't know that it exists, the exam behavior, but now it should be okay. Why? Not sure. Let's try to clean and rebuild where the problem is coming from. I have encountered a very strange bug the first time in my life with the XAML, and hopefully Stack Overflow was quite informative in terms of what I could do. And yeah, I hope that you will not hit it, but yeah, just normal cleaning, rebuilding was not enough. I had to remove manually the directory of object here, that one. Okay, and now I have it. So that is what I wanted to achieve. Now I have my main window. Let's change the name. dotbim export. And I have my control inside of my main window. So this is sitting in a different place. I can here provide something, and it will be reflected here. But why I have done it? Because now in my application, which is now blank, if I will run this test app, it is completely blank. But now I can place my user control, that main control, from different project, and to do that I will just provide here some new namespace UI, and it will be the dotbim Tekla UI. This is that namespace. So here I want to place the UI main control. This is exactly what I want to do. And as you can see, now I have it in my X application. So I will be able to steer, to try to test different user interface stuff without the need of restarting the Tekla. And that is the essence of why I have done it in such way. Because now I can test it without the Tekla. And of course, those tests can be done only on a limited scale. But when you are dealing with the UI, then I'm pretty sure that it will help you. But of course, as we talked previously, it doesn't look the same like the Tekla window. So let's add also to our main control, here I will add some maybe columns, and it will be the first column with some width, not sure how big, maybe that one, and something different which will be set to auto, and the last one will just fill the blank space. So I want to split it into 3 columns, and I want to try those WPF, what was the name of that? It was checkboxes like the Tekla is using, not the profile catalog, WPF filter checkbox. And this is what I want to place here, just to show you the style. And of course, in our main control file, we don't know what does it mean UI controls. So we need to grab it from here. UI controls, it was coming from that place. I will add it, and now I see this is here. Let's just add also some rows. The first row will be with auto, and the next one will be just for the next. And yeah, I think that it should be like that, because usually in Tekla we have some name, like let's try to do it like path, just to provide what it will be about, and it will sit in the first row, but that checkbox, it will be on the like that. So those 50, it's too much, but I'm not sure. And the last stuff, it will be just some text box. Text block, sorry, this is WPF, so it will sit here. And yeah. No, here it is also. Okay, so now I have the text box, and it is definitely too big, but okay, for now that's all what I want to do here. Not horizontal alignment, but rather vertical, but rather, yeah. What? Why? Okay. Yeah, now it is placed exactly in the middle of that column. Okay, so I have some label, some filter checkbox, some text box, and I'm doing that just to replicate the style of the Tekla. So I will also add some button and place it in the next, just to show. Yeah, and let's span it through 2 columns. So that one, and also specify for something more typical, and yeah. Okay, let's add also the next one. Yeah, sorry for being a little chaotic, but now it should be, yeah, now I have some button. And why I need it? Because I want to have that in the same style as from the Tekla boxes. So if we compare that to that one, we see that the style of those buttons is definitely different. We are not able to compare those checkbox, but yeah, they also are different. So to have the same styling in your test application, you need to load the Fusion library. So let's go to Nugget and let's find the Tekla Fusion. So it is here. Okay, let's just grab it into our application. And what is Fusion? It is a set of different WPF functionalities, which is provided by Trimble. I hope that you can use it, but yeah, let's not try to read the license, because then we can always say that we can use it. And what is it for? It can be used just to style your window. So I want to here provide some window resources, and I always doesn't remember how it should be. So let's see that maybe they have used it, and we can just borrow that code in the application. And there is main window exam, and not here, so probably in the resources. The app exam here, not really. Okay, so it is not used here, really? Strange. I thought that it would be here, but nope. Okay, so let's go to the forum, and yeah, we are trying to find window resources. So let's go here and let's see. I really like Tekla 4, just for that. Truly, it shines when you need to find something. Okay, yeah, that part is needed. What I would like. It is definitely one of the samples. Not sure why I was not able to find it, but it is definitely somewhere. Let's just remove those comments. Probably it is all. Yeah, but Tekla is not using the generic theme, but the cloud one. So let's use it like that. Let's try to run, and we will see that our application looks differently.
and it is much closer to how Tekla is displaying the stuff. Of course, I've just set that to wrong height, but the colors are quite nice. Of course, the background of our application could also be borrowed from the default Tekla one, but getting the Fusion library into your project, it will make your life a little easier, because those controls will be styled in the same fashion as the Tekla one. So the font will be used the same, the sizes, all of that stuff. Okay, let's try to work a little more on that main window, because here we don't have the save load. So we can grab it, and I think that maybe it was even here. Not sure what is it, but yeah, we can get it from here. So this is the sample for the application, and I see that here is WPF save load. I will get it just from the sample and paste it to our app, and it is somewhere here. But yeah, let's try to UI controls is not defined. Yes, it is not defined in our application, so I have to also copy it from here, because yeah, we are now spread into three different examples, so it could be a little hard to get, but okay, let's go with the row definitions and 3 rows, exactly the same like with our plugin. So I will just grab that one, paste it here, and say that okay, this save load, it should be in the first one. Okay, that it should be here, and now I think that it will explode, but let's see. No, it doesn't explode, but probably when I will try to save, it will explode. Okay, so this is what we have now. Yeah, just here some test application. Okay, now it's time to populate your UI with your settings, combo boxes, all of that, what is needed. And we have the test application just to make that process much smoother and easier to do, without the need to restart the Tekla each time when you will compile your new version of Shiny UI. So let's try to do this. Okay, so at the beginning, I would like to have those 3 parameters visible in the user interface. So there will be some type of the combo box which will reflect the export mode. So do we want to export only the selection to the dotbim or the whole model? We should also provide the path, or maybe the file name, where it should be stored on your hard drive, and also what should be the name of the settings of the property sets which will be inquired from Tekla and put it into the dotbim file. So 3 attributes, let's name it like that. And I think that, yeah, we can try with the plugin data, because this is usually the first place where you want to specify, okay, so what I want to have. And we will need 2 different strings and 1 integer. So it will be the not path, because it's a too generic name. So it will be the output path, sorry. Next, how it is named in Tekla export to IFC. The name of those are property sets, good name. And here, if we want to export to IFC4, then we have property sets. Okay, so let's stick with the same naming. So those will be property sets. Okay, this is it. And what else? We also need to provide the mode. So yeah, do we want to export only the selection or the whole model? And for that, I will use the integer as the way, as the type, which will be used inside of the Tekla engine to store user preferences in some inside of the database of Tekla. So here it will be the selection mode. And yeah, there is the restriction of the number of characters inside of the structures field, that they should be less than 20. I think that was the rule. So I see that all of them, they they meet that criteria, but please be aware that if you will provide a very long name, then it will be trimmed during the storing it in the database of those plugin settings. So that part, the structures field, it will reflect inside of the Tekla database when you will have those settings set, and it will also be reflected in the settings for saving. But we also need to provide those values also here in the main window view model, and I will do at the very beginning something very strange. So I will just copy and paste, but of course here different attribute will be used, not the structures field but something different. And let's look into the documentation, because here it will be said that those are the structures dialog, so a little different attribute with a different usage, and I will use exactly the same naming as previously. Here is the abbreviation, so it is that sorry, those are the data types. Yeah, this is that, or maybe even not. Let's see. No, this is the type. Okay. What should be here? What was the TD? Oh, okay. The problem is that I am specifying it to the field, but it should be the property. So let's just borrow the implementation from the sample code, and then we will try to say what exactly is here. Okay, so two things, that thing, and also some backing field. Okay. So this is that, and here, yeah, okay, so maybe let's change the default on property change, because I want to stick with the same naming, just to reduce the chance for making some mistakes. So here I will try to use the color name. I'm not sure how exactly it was, so let's try to Google it. WPF color name, color member name, it was like that. So yeah, it will help us, but let's just try to find, yeah, here it is. So by default, we will not have to provide the name of the parameter. So I will change here, and it was the property, not property name. Okay, like that. And now if we will not provide the name here, we will have less chance for any breaking changes during the refactoring, and also we will stick with the same naming. So yeah, that is the first thing. Okay, yeah, at the very beginning, let's just start with empty string. The same will go to the output path, because I will also want to have it here, and let's provide it like that. Output path. Here it is, here it is, here it is, and here it is. Okay. You can, of course, always try to write those type of snippets for strings, for integers, and for doubles, because those three types are used in terms of the Tekla Structures dialog. But yeah, now let's just go with the copy-paste mode. So it will be the selection mode, and here it will be the integer. So let's go with that. This, sorry, it's just int. Okay, and now the name of the backing field. Here it will be the 0 value at the beginning, and okay. So now I have those three fields backed in the view model, but of course it was not done for the UI, for the user control. So I want to go back to this, and yeah, the button is not needed. It was just to show you the how the fusion will affect the visual side of our application. And let's go with maybe not path, but how it was named inside of Tekla. Selection, and here it was export. Selection all objects, selected objects, export. I rather like the name export, so I will stick with the export. Here it is, and we will have the checkbox. And here, this is the first place when you need to be consistent. So we have some filter checkbox, which has which need to have exactly the same name as the backing property inside of the view model. So here I want to turn on or off that feature. So I will change it like that. But yeah, now I am thinking that those checkboxes are not needed, because yeah, you know, when you don't have the modify, then the whole idea of Tekla that you can modify only a set of properties, it is not needed. So we don't have to incorporate those checkboxes because they are not here. So for those type of plugins, they are not needed. Okay, but if you trying to develop the typical plugin, then you should add them, because by doing that, let's try to see maybe here some text boxes, create, cancel. Yeah, I'm looking for the application, so not the best sample, but let's look into the plugins, WPF plugin, and here in the example, there is, for example, this one. So please look, we have some filter checkbox, here it is, and there is the attribute name offset. So the text box, which is related to the checkbox, it also has to refer to the same property. And the problem with this mismatched naming in the Tekla documentation is that here you have the offset with the capital, here it is the small letter, so it can be misleading. And that's why I prefer to always stick with the naming starting with the capital, and because then you will just copy paste it everywhere. You will not think, okay, so for those structures field it should be lowercase, for structures dialog it should be the uppercase. It has not to be like that. You can use always the typical naming convention from .NET. So okay, I will not use those, so I don't need that. Yeah, I'm not I'm in the wrong control, so I should be here. I will not use those filter checkboxes, so I don't need that column. I will have much less space needed, just like that, and here probably also, yeah, even less. Let's do it like that. So here for the export, we don't need the text box, but we need the combo box. So the combo box, and what are the possibilities? And that plugin is written in such a way that there will be always two possibilities: the selected items and all items. So I will not try to populate that combo box on the runtime. I will just do it in such a way. So here it will be selected, and for the it will be all. But of course, let's check the Tekla UI, how it is named here. Selected objects, all objects. Okay. Yeah, selected objects and all objects. Let's change selected objects and all objects. Okay. I would like to see that combo box, is it working or not working? So I will try to run that, and I will see that I will have the empty combo box like that. But yeah, I am not getting any values. So I'm not getting any values in the view model. So this is just the pure UI without any interaction with the back mechanism. So I need to here provide some type of wiring between the main view and the view model. But if you remember here, for that application, we don't have any particular constructor. It's just a plain. So when we migrated that main control to the new application, we have not touched the main view model. So let's borrow that sample from the Trimble. Let's go to the applications and WPF beam application, and here we will see how they are maintaining exactly that part. So for the testing purpose, to not think too much about the dependency injection, they are just creating that main view model on the fly. Yeah, let's go with the same way. So it is here, and just maybe just to okay, and here what I would like to do, I want to set the data context. So to provide the information that this view model is connected to that view. This is the first thing. And also I would like to invoke that internal method. Maybe not internal, this is but word, but that method which is coming not from the window, but from the application window base, because this is something which I have not changed yet. So let's use the Tekla stuff, and here this is not that, so it will be the TSD application window base, but of course that control doesn't know what does it mean, the TSD. This is Tekla Structures dialog, so let's look, let's do it like that. Okay, and now let's try to compile. Will it break or not? Something has failed. Why? Because the name view model doesn't exist. Okay, so here I am using different naming convention, and yeah, we see that now please look, after changing to the application window base, we have exactly the same background and the main bar as in the Tekla. So yeah, we have it. But okay, I have the selected objects, and probably you have not noticed, but previously I was getting some exceptions at the bottom. So now it is one thing less, but it is not because the view model knows about that, because here we are still missing the wiring. So here, that combo box, it should be the selected item. It should be binded to the backing selection mode. Yeah, so it will be not the item itself, because by the item we have the selected objects and all objects, but it will be selected index. So now I am saying like that if that combo box, if it selected item will change, then please go with those changes to that property of the data context. And to see that it will work or not, let's just run the application and put the breakpoint here and here. So now when I will see the application, where it is, here it is. Okay, so now after changing, I am getting into the code. So I see that the new value of that field is 1, and it is then returned. Nice. If I will go to the 0, then the same will go. And what is the most interesting? Then when I will try to save it under some settings, then I will save those. Okay, so the question, where are those settings saved? And of course in the currently opened model, in the attributes. So it should be somewhere here, and let's look into the value. So now I have the selection mode set as 1. I don't have the output path, I don't have the property sets, because we have not done it yet. So the selection mode is set to 1. Okay, yeah, let's try what will happen if I will change it to the first element, so the index 0. Save, and as you can see, the mechanism between binding view and view model is working, because the debugger hit our breakpoint when it was set here, and the structures dialog, it is responsible for that magic that if you save or load something, then you will get that result. Okay, load. I have not checked it yet. So currently my settings are specifying the selection mode set to 0. So now I will manually change to the all and try to load those settings. So as you saw, that export has been changed, but I see that there is the problem with alignment. Yeah, UI stuff. Okay, so let's fix that alignment, and here I will just add some vertical alignment to center, and okay. Let's now see that it will, yeah, now they are on the same line. Okay, so we have the selected objects, and of course I don't like that it occupies so much space, so it should be restricted somehow. So let's modify the column definition by auto is not the best, I think, but there will be the text box for specifying the paths. So I'm not sure how long it should be, but of course, yeah, that is the story for a completely different way. Okay, here I see that there is a button just to pick the destination where we want to store. So yeah, and that's the select folder. It should be added somewhere here. Okay. Okay. So what is needed more? What was the name? Path? Selection folder. There it was output file. Output file, I think that's a little better naming, but okay, maybe I'm wrong. So let's add one more row. Let's move the current content into the next grid because I want to stay with the same order. So it will be in the first row, and the very beginning there will be the output file. Okay, so this is that, and for that I want to use the text box. And the text box, yeah, we don't need the internals, so let's move it like that. It will be in the first row, but in the first column. Nice. And what's more, we have to provide, okay, so how that field will be backed with the view model. So here I will use the text and say binding, and it was, what was the name of that? Output path. Okay, so now the wiring is done. And let's try to save the file just to see that, okay, now if I will provide something, oh, we see that that was too small, those 100 pixels, it was not enough. So let's increase it. And now, yeah, now it fits. Okay, not bad. So if I will save some settings, let's just do it once more, then we see that output path, it is here. So it is working. But of course, we want to add also that extra button just to pick some destination. And yeah, for that it was always the problem with the WPF because it was lacking the proper selecting. But okay, here I will try to add some icon just to picking like that. Probably it is also coming from Fusion, but I'm not sure. Yeah. Yeah, we could try to look a little deeper into the Fusion, but okay, but probably it won't be possible just through the Visual Studio. So let's stay with that for a different occasion. And now I want to add some extra button. So it will be the button, and yeah, it will be in the first row, but in the next column. So for that it will be that, and here for the content, yeah, let's go like that. And I'm quite curious, do I have Mahab's icon installed? But okay, I will try to look into the Fusion. Okay, so inside of the Fusion library there are also some geometries, some paths which yeah, they appear in different places of the Tekla. So if you would like to have quite the same or very similar output of your plugin, just to, you know, look like the designers of Tekla have thought, then yeah, those are in the Fusion library, and I have borrowed it here and provided it like the path inside of the button. And yeah, it doesn't look the best. I think that my button is too big, and also some margins should be added. But yeah, especially if we compare it with that one, then it's much smaller. But yeah, those, you know, I will try to tweak it just in the meantime. But I saw that that material is quite a long one, so I will do on my own the rest of the UI stuff, and we will see in the next video about the preparing installer, that zip file, because this is the missing part, that you know how to write the logic, you know how to create the UI, and then the question is, okay, so how to deploy your application, how to provide it to the end users. So thank you for today, and yeah, it was quite a long video, and see you next time.